What's up guys, my name is Tom, welcome back to another video, and today we're here for the start of my F1 2021 driver career mode. Finally, the day is here where we're going to start our journey in the career mode series. If you could already smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new, it would mean a lot to me, because now a lot of career mode videos are coming to this channel. Make sure to activate the bell to not miss a single video. But enough talking, I know that you guys want to see how is going to be this career mode series. I decided to go with the driver career mode instead of the my team career mode, because I think if I chose the my team it would be too repetitive. We already did on F1 2020, so we're going to click on single player career, and we're going to choose the driver career mode. Play as a driver, sign a contract with one of the official Formula 1 teams and fight your way to the top of the drivers championship. And now you're going to see that we're going to choose the season tab. We can either choose the full season or can choose the custom season. I'm going to choose the custom season because I want to do shorter seasons in future season, I should say. However, in this first season we're going to do the full calendar. However, we're not going to have the three branded tracks that we are expecting in this game: Portimao, Jeddah and Imola. In future seasons I'm going to race with the 16 race calendar, and once these tracks get added, they're going to be in the calendar in this career mode series. The only season that we're going to do with 20 races is going to be this first one, because let's be honest, I don't want to do every single season Paul Ricard, for example, or even was a race at Sochi, and in this way I have time to do more seasons during this game cycle. And now let's take a look at the settings for this career mode. Assist all off, with the exception of the gearbox with the suggested gear, in order to get used to the circuit in the first few laps. In terms of the weekend structure, we're going to do a full qualifying key 3, key 2 and key 1, and the race distance is going to be, as always, a 50% one. So nothing too special about the settings, they are more than the same. And then in the simulation settings, you're seeing that the AI difficulty at the moment is on 100, but it's going to be just for this episode because I ran with a stock setup. After this episode, I started to run with custom setups. That's a reason that the difficulty is a little bit low than usual. Generally, I race with 102, 103, depends on the track that I'm racing. Surface type realistic, flashbacks are enabled because a screen freeze can screw our race. Car damage rate is on simulation as always. The race starts are going to be manual, and collisions, of course, they are going to be on. And there you have it. These are the settings for this career mode. They are more than same. I always like a challenge, race without assists. Now it's time for the moment that you all been waiting for. What is going to be our team that we're going to drive for this F1 2021 career mode? Our first team in the career mode series. You guys already saw in the thumbnail, in the title, what is our team. And I decided to do a Road to Glory series with Haas. We know that Haas has been struggling in these last few years. In 2018 was their best season, finishing 5th place in the constructor standing, just behind Renault. But from then on things start to go downhill, and now it's the slowest team on the grid, overtaken by Williams. You can see that the vehicle performance comparison, you can see that Haas is the second slowest. This is because the performance patch so far hasn't come out in this game, so we're not going to be the slowest team. It kind of ruins a bit the thing. I was thinking about choosing Williams, but the thing is everyone is choosing Williams because of the hype of George Russell, let's be honest, and I decided to do the complete opposite, that is choosing the American team. And what is going to be the objective? Basically, try first to get to the midfield, and then living the American dream, which is going to be win the drivers and constructor standings. This is the main goal of the Road to Glory series. We can say it's always the main goal when it comes to this kind of series. And the team's expectations are claim position. This team are looking to embark upon a new era of competition and are looking for drivers who can help to achieve consistent improvement and fight the midfield teams for points. These first races are not going to be easy. Points are going to be a very unrealistic scenario. But anyway, we're going to talk about that later. Now it's time to choose our teammate, and I think it would be a no-brainer to choose Nikita Mazepin. Our teammate is going to be Mick Schumacher, obviously one of my favorite drivers, and he's been doing a fantastic job in the real-life season with the car that he has. If you want to put this team at the top places, we need a great driver to start, at least in this first season. You never know if he's going to depart or not because of the driver's transfers. You can thank me at the end of this video for not putting Mazepin in this career mode, because I'm going to be his replacement, which I believe, in my opinion, is a better option. Everything is done and dusted, all set to start this career mode, and here we are at the Haas headquarters for the first time, and we have an email from Gunther Steiner saying that welcome to the team. Between yourself and Mick, I'm sure that you can have a fantastic season. My door is always open if you need anything. Kindest regards, Gunther Steiner, team principal. I'm going to do everything, Gunther, to not smash your door. There are two things that this car struggles a lot One is the aero and the other one is the chassis. This car is very, very unstable. We're taking a look first at the aero department, and you can see that we are in second place, kind of level with Alfa Romeo. To Williams is by far the worst, which doesn't make sense because of the performance patch as not coming to play so far in the game. But then from Alfa Romeo to Ferrari, there's a huge gap, so we need to invest a lot in the aero. And to start things with a bang, we're going to invest in a minor upgrade for the wing flaps, and hopefully it's going to be ready just before the Bahrain Grand Prix. With this, we still have 500 resource points to spend, and I decided to take a bit of the risk because in the chassis department I didn't have enough resource points to buy an upgrade, so I decided to invest a bit in the engine. We're not the slowest, but we could have been much better. We're losing a bit to the Mercedes engines, so we're going to buy this minor one, which is for the engine power. And like the wing flaps, hopefully they're going to be ready for the Bahrain Grand Prix. So these are going to be the first two upgrades of the season. Just bought the first two upgrades of this career mode series. Now we're going to take a look first at our perks. And I'm going to straight away to buy the development feedback. Because if you buy level 1 of development feedback, you're going to have a boost of 10% in your resource point income. This is going to really come in handy, especially because we need a lot of resource points in order to invest in the car. And I think this should be one of the first things that we should do in any F1 career mode. This next part of the video is a bit pointless, I'm not gonna lie. It's going to be the car reveal. We already know how it looks. The Haas is not the prettiest car, but trust me, in season 2 I'm going to do some improvements through modding. It's just a formality, and so let's take a look at the challenger that we're going to have for this season, the Haas VF21. And there you have it, our car. Like I said, not the most beautiful thing in the world by far. I don't really like the Russian colors. But don't worry, in season 2 I'm going to upgrade this car through modding. It's going to be a much better skin. But now we're skipping time just a few days before our debut at the Bahrain Grand Prix, receiving some more resource points. And unfortunately, the most important upgrade, the first I really wanted for this weekend, for the aero flaps, the wing flaps I should say, unfortunately failed. So this is not really good. Things are not starting that smoothly. So we're going to fix that, and he's going to be ready. Yes, he's going to be ready for the Spanish Grand Prix. But you know, it's a bit of a shame because I would rather 1,000 times to have the engine upgrade, you know, get failed, we can say like that. At least we're going to have an upgrade, so better than nothing. And I decided to buy one for the durability department. You can see that actually Ferrari power units are the best, but I decided to buy one for the gearbox because without a doubt we're going to take a lot of grid penalties. But now you're going to see this is our helmet for this season. Thank you so much to Adrian from Adrian Designs for designing this helmet. All of his links are going to be in the description. He's a great guy. His designs are without a doubt one of the best in the F1 community. So take a closer look. This is going to be our helmet, inspiring a little bit on Vettel's helmet with the rainbow. He did, for example, at the Turkish Grand Prix last year and most recently at the Hungarian Grand Prix. And you know that Sebastian Vettel is one of my favorite drivers, so I decided to carry a little bit into. And we also have some logos from Team Shazoo, which if you don't know is my esports teams. Make sure to check them out as well. But now it's finally time to start this season, so without further ado, let's go to Bahrain.
Hello folks, and welcome to Paddock Pass, your pre-race edition for this, the inaugural round of the 2021 Formula One World Championship. And I've got to say, it feels great to be back. As is tradition, there is something of an air of a first day back at school on arrival here. But it's more than that. It's a breath of fresh air. It's an element of normality in what has at times felt to be something of an abnormal world. Now, we were supposed to have a raft of new regulations this season, but as we know, they've been held back, which does give all of these teams the opportunity to have a second bite at the cherry, one final chance to show what they can do in this era of Formula One. But the responsibility for results, as always, falls on the drivers. But with the cars at their disposal this year being very similar to the cars they had at their disposal last year, succeed, and they of course will put it all on themselves as a display of their innate skills and abilities. But the knife cuts both ways, because if they fail to succeed, there's absolutely nowhere for them to hide. The other question though remains as to which of these teams has been able to do the incredible, the impossible perhaps, with these regulations and pull something out of the hat over the winter that gives them the march on their rivals. As always, we can't wait for this season to begin, but for now, from us, that's your life.
I really enjoy this cutscene of the Paddock Pass that we used to see in the official F1 channel on YouTube. So thanks, Will. Hopefully we can see more of those cutscenes over the course of this career mode. Hopefully it's not going to be just this one and that's pretty much it. I was a bit sad for not showing, for example, the Haas garage, but anyway, that's not important. We're going to focus at the Bahrain Grand Prix. You can see that we have some upgrades from the durability offered by Ferrari, because it's our engine supplier, as you know, which are 4 general upgrades for the durability department. So this is going to really come in handy because, like I said, it's going to be really hard to not get grid penalties over the course of this first season. But now let's go to the garage.
This first race of the season is always quite difficult for us trackside, and for those back at the factory as well, as it's the first time the car has run since winter testing. The more consistent mileage you can get in these sessions, the happier we'll be.
Thanks, Jeffrey, for the welcome message, and here we are seated on a Haas, and you can see that now the practice programs are different comparing to F1 2020. You can see that today we will do the race strategy, fuel management and tire management are the only programs that we need to do for this weekend, but I'm going to talk about that first. Let's fire up this beast.
Let's get a few laps under our belt.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I was with a smile on my face when I was doing these first meters in this Haas. It's not a Prius car, but you know, it's a new career mode, new life. It's a new car. I never driven a Haas in a career mode, but you can see the replay cameras. We're doing a little shakedown lap just to make sure that everything is ready. Still on the hard tires, and we're already going to pull into the pits. Just a little shakedown lap. And hopefully it's going to be a great season for us. These first races are going to be super hard. But I was going to talk about the practice programs, and you can see that we're doing the first one, which is the race strategy. What you have to do, the practice programs are pretty much the same to F1 2020, but the structure is pretty different. Instead of doing the 5 from the previous games, now you just do 3. And if you accomplish certain objectives, you're going to have a discount, we can say, in the price of the upgrades that you need to buy. So I think it's a better system, and you don't need to waste that much time on practice, which for me is a plus, because I don't have that much time to record this career mode video. Now I have, because I'm on holidays, but once I start, you know, university once again, I'm going to be very short on time to record these videos. So this is going to be a huge plus, especially for people like me that are a little bit short on time recording these career mode videos. But now we're doing the fuel management. I actually struggled a little bit, and it was only on the third lap that we managed to get a purple result. You can see on the left hand corner the objectives that we have to accomplish. You can see some of them can be, for example, a clean sector, or you need to respect the racing line, or maybe beat the straight line speed, or the speed trap, we can say, of the circuit. So there's various objectives that can give us discounts in future upgrades. So like I said, I really like this system. It's a more chilled one, I can say it like that. I'm not forced to do every single one, and let me say that I was kind of bored at the end of 2 seasons to do every single practice program. But there you have it. Practice things have been pretty smoothly, and we gained a good amount of resource points, and now you're seeing the discounts being applied to future upgrades that we need to buy if we want. And this is going to be a huge help when we need to buy upgrades, because we're going to save some resource points. But anyway, it's time for the first qualifying session of this career mode series. We'll see what we can do. Pace, like I said, has been pretty smoothly, and hopefully we can get a good result. Going into Q2, I think is a very unrealistic scenario. So what I want to do is maybe beat the Williams cars, our teammate, and if everything goes well, beat one of the Alfa Romeo drivers. I think this is the main target for this first practice session. You can see that first lap is being a pretty tidy one, not risking that much, as we lost a bit the back end, and that is going to cost us a lot of time. Once again, the back end squirming, so you can see that this car is not really stable. Open the DRS across the line, and it's going to be a dreadful time of 128.4, but despite that, We are ahead of Nicholas Latifi, and for the time being we are in P19, and we're going to do one more lap. Mick Schumacher looking pretty good in P16, however he's 3/10 away from getting into Q2. At the moment, a veteran Kimi Räikkönen is doing a pretty decent job. For the time being he's in P15, but you're going to join me for this entire lap to see what we can do. Let's see if we can get ahead of our teammate. Here we go through the second corner. It's really hard to get a good traction, open the DRS, and we're already gaining not even a tenth of a second, just a marginal gain. And here this corner, this right hander is very understeer. I did a track guide because I did a social race at this exact same track. Now here is very understeer. It's very easy to lose the car, especially on this outside curb, and that was actually a bit too conservative, and I lost some time, and you can see losing even more time. But I think we're going to gain buckets and buckets of time on that right-hander at the third sector, because we lost massively the back end through the tricky left-hander. Very easy to lock up. We didn't do that, and we actually gained a bit of time. So this second half of the lap on the first run wasn't that good, and is where I'm expecting to gain a lot of time. Here, let's try to not get a bit of understeer. Make sure to not get caught on that outside curve. We're going to lose buckets of time. Here, it seems that I just managed to go flat out. I'm not entirely sure. And now through the right hand, you can see that we're going to gain chungus and chungus of time. Half a second up on our previous best, but that's a longer right-hander. Going flat out in the race, only in your imagination. At least with this car, that is absolute crap when it comes to error. Through the final corner, open the DRS. Where this is going to put us at the end of the session, we'll see if we can get into Q2. Maybe it's going to be very hard to get to that time. But you can see that we only managed to get P18, only ahead of the Williams drivers, and 3/10 away of Mick Schumacher. So not the best result, and even if I did a perfect lap, we can say I think I would still be behind Schumacher. But generally my race pace is better than the qualifying pace, and we're going to be forced to do the one stop because we're starting outside of the top 10, and one stop can mean big things at this track. So it's not the end of the world. I'm not aiming for points, but for a good result. So without further ado, let's go to the first race of the career mode series, the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today as we return to racing for the opening event of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to round one of this year's Formula One World Championship. We go racing today around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit, with 15 corners and 2 good passing opportunities into turns 1 and 4. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left tyre into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. So here we are in 2021 at the start of another Formula One World Championship. It all begins here. Mercedes looking to retain their hold on the title. Red Bull seeking to secure their position as the main contender for that title. Ferrari no doubt hoping for a fresh start following their difficulties last year. And elsewhere on the grid, the prospect of some really exciting battles, including between the newly rebranded Aston Martin and Alpine teams. Lots to discuss then with Anthony Davidson, who's joined me in the commentary box for today's event.
It's good to be back, Crofty. Let's hope for some good racing today. We can't know at this point how competitive these teams are relative to each other, but hopefully nobody is able to run and hide. We want to see these drivers pushing to the limit all the way to the checkered flag.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Perez, Lando Norris and Ricciardo, Leclerc, Vettel, Sainz and Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda and Ocon, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Mick Schumacher and Thomas, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
And here we are, guys, ready to the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix, starting in P18 ahead of both Williams cars. No team ready from Jeff, so he might be a little bit disappointed with our result in Saturday's qualifying. But strategy-wise, it's going to be a one-stop. I think it's a no-brainer to do a two-stop, and starting outside of the top 10. The one-stop can mean big things. It will depend on the guys that are starting on the top 10, because everyone is fitting the soft tires, and everyone outside of the top 10 is starting on the medium. So we have this 50-50% option. We can say like that. Points, I think is not going to be on the table unless we have a miraculous safety car or something like that. But here we go, the start of my F1 2021 career mode. 5 red lights for the Bahrain Grand Prix. and it slides out and away we go. And great start against Mick Schumacher, already overtaking our teammate and getting really close to the Alfa Romeo and Esteban Ocon as we go into turn 1 very gingerly. Ocon lost a bit of his front wing and we are in a very awkward position, mounting massively the curb, and we judge a little bit the rear tire of the Alpine. Round the outside we go, Nicola Latifi, and now side by side with our teammate, already gaining one position at the start. That was really awkward to go side by side with Esteban Ocon, but now he has a lot of front wing damage. Look how slow the Alpine is. Here we go, side by side we go with the Frenchman. Brand new season, brand new lap for Alpine, and down inside we go, and we are up, I believe, into P16, and Esteban Ocon might be on the threat from Mick Schumacher. Around the outside he goes, our teammate. What a fantastic move. I know that Alpine has severe damage, but that is a good move from our teammate nonetheless, and we are up into P16 and P17. The season not starting very smoothly for Esteban Ocon. He will be forced to pit in this lap as we have a massive wheel spin. And thankfully I managed to save that and not put my Grand Prix to an early end to get a good result. Anyway, now we're going to try to be a little bit calm and see if we can challenge the two Alfa Romeos. I think Raikkonen got a beastly start, already overtaking at least Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri doing his debut. You can see confirmation that Raikkonen is ahead of the Japanese. We're going to see if we can overtake Antonio Giovinazzi, and we'll see what we can do about it as we go through the final corner. Let's try to set this up, and we're going to deploy the battery to see if we can do something on the Alfa Romeo. No DRS deployed, it will be once we start the third lap of this Grand Prix. Gaining slipstream on the Alfa Romeo. Two guys are pitting. This is Charles Leclerc and Sergio Perez. They have front wing damage as well, but down inside we go of the Alfa Romeo on the Italian, and giving a little bit of a squeeze. He tries to go on inside, trying to regain that position, but he lost so much momentum that I think he's vulnerable to Mick Schumacher. Side by side we go, and Schumacher is going to try to go around the outside, and I think Giovinazzi tried to regain the position on me for a brief second, but they are still going at it side by side. Schumacher might go around the outside here, yes he will, but he will turn to the inside line as they are still going. This is fantastic stuff. Schumacher doing a brilliant race so far, but he's not giving up this one that easily. The rookie showing that why he is the Formula 2 World Champion, as they are still going at it through the tricky left-hander. No lockups whatsoever. Brilliant driving from these two. Schumacher doing bits at the moment in that Haas versus the Alfa Romeo, and they are still going side by side. It's going to be a full lap if it continues like this of side-by-side action between Schumacher and Giovinazzi. Run the outside. Now our teammate goes as I'll go a little bit wide, and where this battle is going to end, it never ends. It seems they're going to spend an entire lap going side by side as now they go through the final corner, and after that is going to be a drag race, and who's going to have the better run? Schumacher, it seems, gets the better acceleration, but it's quite equal. They are matched in terms of distance and time as they cross the line. Giovinazzi with the upper hand, but I think Schumacher has slightly better straight line speed as they go into the first corner. Giovinazzi going defensive, he hits the apex pretty nicely, hitting a little bit the curb. Schumacher now is going to switch to the inside, but that is a very good option into turn 2, and finally this battle is over, and Giovinazzi manages to defend the position. But this is the reason that Leclerc and Perez pitted, is because they made contact, and Leclerc for sure that he lost a bit of his front wing, at least his right end plate. Let's see from a better angle. Yes, he definitely lost the right end plate. However, Sergio Perez, I don't see any damage, so that is very weird to see. I don't know why Red Bull decided to pit. I don't know if he has maybe floor damage, because it's a new thing in this game, but Vettel seems to be in trouble at the moment, looking very nicely in a very lofty P5 I should say. Not anymore, because Ricciardo makes the move, and he's going to try to chase down his teammate Lando Norris. That is 5 seconds up the road, but there you go, here comes Lance Stroll up the inside of his teammate, and now Vettel tries to regain the position around the outside. How did he manage to get that grip? And he is ahead once again of Daniel Ricciardo. Brilliant driving from the German in his first race for Aston Martin. Now another side-by-side action, this time between Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly. Alonso trying to go around the side of the AlphaTauri. Who's going to have the better traction, it seems, for the time being, is Fernando Alonso, and now they're going side by side like Schumacher and Giovinazzi, but I think Gasly runs wide and he's off to the track and he's stopped. So I think he went a little bit too deep, and that made him go off the track. So let's see the replay. Alonso gets a better acceleration. However, Gasly carries too much speed. Yeah, that is a very unfortunate mistake from the Frenchman, and I don't know why he completely stopped in the escape road. He lost a bucket of position. But now this is round 2, Ricciardo versus Vettel. Ricciardo is going to try to go around the outside, thanks to the help of the DRS. Round the outside he goes, and it's time for round 2, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, side by side they still go, but Ricciardo gets a great run on inside and gets P5 in this Bahrain Grand Prix. But I think Lance Stroll might get another bite of the cherry, but Vettel is going to have, I should say, round the outside he goes once again, but I think this time he doesn't have enough legs to get ahead. Actually, Haas, they are still going at it, and Lance Stroll with a privileged view as of a Carlos Sainz, and finally Vettel loses the position to Ricciardo, maybe to Lance Stroll. Stroll sent it up the inside, but it's not enough to get ahead of his brand new teammate, and that is a fantastic battle between the two Aston Martins and the McLaren of Daniel Ricciardo. But now this is Lewis Hamilton leading the race, followed by Valtteri Bottas already with some distance. And Bottas spins round in the final corner. Absolute disaster for the Finn. He completely bottles it at the last corner. He already so far lost 2 positions to Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. At the moment, the Brit finds himself on the podium in his first race of 2021, and you can see that was a bizarre spin. You can see that he was like 100% throttle in the middle of the corner, and no surprise that he lost the back end. So he was trying to gain some time to his teammate that is leading the race, but he was pushing too hard. That is a bizarre mistake to see Bottas bottling even in the game. So F1 2021, realistic game confirmed. Anyway, this is the first stopper of the season. This is Lance Stroll, the proper stopper we can say, and it seems that he's on a 2-stop. Gasly trying to regain all these positions. He has a huge mountain to climb if he wants to salvage this race and score some points. And now this is the race leader Lewis Hamilton pitting, and he's going aggressive, fitting another set of soft tires. There's no way that he's going to do that free stop, but it seems that he's going very aggressive nonetheless. He's going to fit a brand new set of mediums at the end of this race. Is the most expectable thing, and Verstappen is doing the same thing. Daniel Ricciardo, what he's going to do is doing the same thing. He's fitting the soft tires, so a lot of mixed strategies between the 2 stops. But this is going to get really juicy, and it's going to be really interesting to see who's going to save better than the tires. And now this is Mick Schumacher trying to make the move once again on Giovinazzi. Giovinazzi going defensive round 2 between these 2 drivers. We've been pulling away of them, which is pretty nice. So we're kind of comfortable so far in this Grand Prix, and Schumacher can't do anything. Giovinazzi defends the position pretty nicely by going around the outside, and he has to do all over again. So Schumacher doesn't seem to find a way to get ahead of Giovinazzi. He's getting a pretty intense battle between these 2, but for us, it's been a very quiet race. I'm trying to gain on Raikkonen, however, it's not enough. So I'm kind of in the league of my own as the 1-stoppers are pitting. You can see that we're just behind Max Verstappen, which at the moment finds himself in P2 once everyone does their stop. Down inside he goes, and I didn't want to put any pressure on Verstappen because, let's be honest, we are in a completely different race. Look how much distance he already gained in the space of 1 corner, and now we are under threat from Valtteri Bottas. So this time it doesn't go up the inside like Verstappen did, so Bottas being a little bit conservative after that ridiculous mistake. Hamilton is out of the race. The race leader has pulled to the side of the track as Bottas goes up the inside, but you can see in the mini-map we're going to pass Hamilton in any time soon. He's going to, yes, he pulled off to the left hand side of the track, and the race leader is out of the Bahrain Grand Prix. So 1 Mercedes remaining in this race, and this means that at the moment who leads for the time being is Fernando Alonso as Verstappen, which should be the race leader once everyone does the stops, and goes up the inside of the AlphaTauri of Yuki Tsunoda, and he's up into 2nd place, and he should overtake Fernando Alonso in any time soon, maybe on the next lap. Norris meanwhile goes around the outside of the AlphaTauri on the softest compound of tire, and he's up into 3rd place. So this means that Norris at the moment finds himself in 2nd place of this Grand Prix. This is absolutely unbelievable, and now Verstappen doesn't want to wait for the start-finish straight, already trying to go around the outside of the race leader. Not anymore, because Verstappen takes the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix, followed by Alonso, and then Lando Norris. Norris is going to overtake Alonso in any time soon. DRS open, and he's up into 2nd place, but Norris is gaining on Verstappen, 3 wide between these 3, and down inside inside goes Lando Norris, and he takes the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Outstanding stuff at the moment. Who leads this race is a McLaren. Already losing my voice. What a race it's been at the moment, and Verstappen should be pissed at the moment because he has to re-overtake Alonso. Round the outside he goes. He doesn't want to lose any more time with the Spaniard because he needs to catch Lando Norris, and finally Verstappen gets released. But look at the distance that Norris already has. Absolute scenes in this Bahrain Grand Prix. Talking about the other McLaren, down inside goes Daniel Ricciardo, going a little bit wide, so I made a mistake and that made things easy for the Aussie. But what's the race it has been? Bottas spinning round in the final corner, Hamilton out of the race while leading the Grand Prix, and now we have Verstappen in second place and then Lando Norris. So this means that so far in this race we had 3 race leaders: Hamilton, Norris and Verstappen, and now we have a McLaren leading the race. This can't get any better. What a way to start this career mode series. And lap 14 we're going to pull into the pits and dress a brand new set of hard tires. This is going to be the only stop of the day, of the night I should say. Yeah, I need to breathe a little bit because it's been a heck of a race. I'm already losing a little bit my voice, I'm not gonna lie, so hopefully the race is going to be a little bit more calmer in this last stint to see if I can finish this episode and put on time on the channel. But anyway, we're exiting the pits, and it seems that we have behind Sergio Perez and then Pierre Gasly. The two guys are making comebacks after mistakes on the first laps of the Grand Prix. Perez looking pretty close, but he's not going to dive down the inside, and he is on the harder comparative tire. So at the moment Perez might be with up for a good result, trying to salvage this race. And around the outside he goes through the long left-hander. Look at this difference in terms of downforce between the Haas and the Red Bull. They are two complete opposites, and Perez is up into P14. I think this is the best position that we can get in this race, but maybe in any time soon we might be overtaken by Pierre Gasly in P16. Charles Leclerc still behind us, and he should overtake us in any time soon. So at the moment we find ourselves in P15. Some guys are still stopping, they have it, and we are in P13 now, gaining on Sergio Perez. Tried to go around the outside for a moment, and you can see Schumacher only getting ahead of Charles Leclerc, but in any time soon he's going to let that Ferrari go through, because let's be honest, Schumacher, a Ferrari Academy driver, he doesn't want to bother that car that much. And there you go, Gasly, there's no chance. The cars are different, and I decided that we're not racing for points. Let's be honest, maybe the only chance that we would have for points, it will be maybe a miraculous safety car during a pit stop window, which unfortunately didn't happen. We could have maybe with Hamilton, but FIA thought that it wouldn't make sense to bring the safety car out. But now this is Max Verstappen still in second place. Norris has been managing to put that Red Bull behind him for these last few laps, and it seems that Verstappen and Red Bull are trying the undercut on the McLaren. However, it's a little bit far up the road, and it will depend where Verstappen is going to come out of the pit. So the two Aston Martins are going to overtake the Red Bull. They're going to be miles ahead, so there's not going to be that much of a bother. McLaren needs to bring Norris in the next lap. It's critical. This is for the race lead. We might see Norris winning the first race of this career mode season. There he is. Norris pulls into the pits. This is critical, the critical moment of the race. He fits the medium comparative tires, and now we need to see where Verstappen is going to come out. I think it's going to be pretty close between these two. Bottas, I think, is in the same strategy as Norris. There he is. Verstappen down the straight, gaining slipstream on Carlos Sainz. Side by side they go through the start-finish straight, I should say, and Verstappen takes the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. So Red Bull playing that pretty smartly, and they managed to get the undercut work, and Norris unfortunately down into second place. What a race it would have been. I would love to see Norris winning this race, because you don't see McLaren winning a race every single day. And now Carlos Sainz going up the inside, side by side. Not really, he doesn't need to dive, just to overtake on the straight, and there you have it. I think Sainz did the stop, if I am not wrong, and he's on the harder comparative tire. So it's been a tough race for Ferrari. So far it's not looking that good for them to score points. And now Mick Schumacher looking pretty pacey on the harder comparative tire. He's gaining and gaining. It seems that we're going to battle with our teammate in the first race of the season. Side by side we go through the start-finish straight, and we're going defensive. He's trying to go around the outside. We play that pretty smartly, and we maintain P14 for the time being. But I think Schumacher might have another chance, because he's going to have once again the TRS, but I think he's a little bit too far up the road. And this is Valtteri Bottas at the moment with a good comeback drive after that spin in the first laps of the race. and he's up into P2, and it seems that Norris doesn't have any pace on those tires, but still I think it's going to be a podium for the Brit, and it's going to be definitely a positive result from McLaren. Ricciardo up into P4 if I'm not wrong, but this is round 2. Round inside goes Schumacher. This time he has a better run, and I think he's going to gain that position. Yes, we're going to leave that the fight for another day. I would say maybe to the next DRS zone, open the DRS, and we're going to get the position, switching aggressively to the right hand side of the track. Down inside we go off the German, and we're going to make sure that we park a little bit on the apex to make sure that it doesn't come back, and we regain P14. And now this is Bottas about to take the lead of the race. There you go, side by side with Verstappen, and Verstappen not anymore leading the race. It's Valtteri Bottas salvaging Mercedes' day after Hamilton's DNF and this spin in the first lap of the Grand Prix. What a comeback that this man is doing. Absolute textbook, great performance by the Finn. And this is Sergio Perez salvaging Red Bull's day as well by going around the outside of Fernando Alonso to take a top 5 paying position. But what a race it's been so far. 4 different race leaders. You don't hear this every day, even in an F1 career mode. This is by far one of the best races at the front in my F1 career. But now Schumacher, down inside he goes. This is not a really good place to go side by side. And who's going to be the biggest winner? We touch a little bit. We touch with our teammate in the first race. 2 rookies colliding a little bit, and Schumacher gains that position, so things are starting to get maybe a little bit too close between the 2 Haas drivers, but we'll see if he can regain this position with 4 laps to go. But things are getting really hot at the Haas, and this is only the first race. I decided to battle with our teammate and not letting go through because points are not really on the table, and we have some distance to George Russell. But here we go, DRS open, and this should be a good regain. I'm not deploying that much ERS because I want to save some for the last lap to make sure that Schumacher doesn't do, you know, a last minute dive bomb in the last lap of the race. But there you go, we regain the position, and here we go. There goes the first race winner of the season through the final corner. Valtteri Bottas wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. What a brilliant comeback from the Finn, and followed by Max Verstappen. Commiserations to Lando Norris, really close to win his first race in Formula 1, and positive result as well for his teammate Daniel Ricciardo in his first race for McLaren. What a race it's been for McLaren, what a race it's been for Mercedes. And as things stand, if I am not wrong, I think McLaren might be in the lead of the constructor standings. Good comeback as well from Sergio Perez, closing the top 5, and Fernando Alonso finished only just ahead of Sebastian Vettel in the mediums. Vettel was charging for the field and unfortunately couldn't overtake the Spaniard in the Alpine's first race and in his comeback. But for us, a very positive P14. I think this is the best that we could get on our debut, so I'm really happy with this result.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
And there you have it, your first race winner of 2021, the first leader in the championship, Valtteri Bottas. Wow, what a race from the Finn. He spun around, he didn't give up, and the reward was the first place. What a comeback from the Finn, and it really shows that Mercedes was pretty strong at the skier circuit. Followed by Verstappen, Lando Norris. Good comeback from Sergio Perez, closing down the top 5. Great race from Alonso, starting outside of the top 10, manages to score 8 points, and good comeback as well from Charles Leclerc, closing down the top 10. For us, I think this is the best that we could get considering that the car we had, and it was a race that I really enjoyed to race. Battling with our teammate, a slight touch, but thankfully it didn't end up with a crash, but maybe we need to be a little bit careful in the future races. Driver standings is pretty much the same. Constructor standings, it's Red Bull leading by just 1 point ahead of McLaren and 2 points ahead of Mercedes, and a huge gap to Alpine, but for us it's only ahead of Williams and behind Alfa Romeo because Raikkonen got P12 in that race. Ferrari with just 1 point, but what a season we have ahead of us. It started with an absolute banger. Hopefully the next races are going to be exciting as this one. But guys, that has been the first episode of my F1 2021 career mode. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. A lot of F1 2021 content is coming, especially career mode. Make sure to stay tuned for that. If you could share this video as well, it would mean a lot. But that has been me for today. My name's Tom, and I'll see you guys for a brand new video next time. But for now, take care.